Okay, so you can see, you can count them right up. There are only 7 classes of this course left, including today. So starting next week, we just have 6 classes because there's 2 per week and there's 3 weeks of classes. So this is kind of a shortened / abbreviated unit. It's about a class or 2 short of what I normally have for units. Somewhere in the semester, I don't know, I think we had a negative wind chill, blizzard, snow day, I don't know what it was. I know we missed a class in there somewhere. I can't even remember, I try to block that stuff out. But you can see melodic dictation, we're going to be still doing the same thing that we did last unit. We're going to continue dealing with melodies that outline any of the diatonic triads. The rhythmic dictation, however, we're going to be dealing with triplets and duplets, which we're going to start today in the sightseeing book. The harmonic dictation and real music examples will now include the median chord. What will median is and that will be the last of the diatonic chords we basically discussed. That's most of them. Anyways, I tried to get, usually I get to the 7 diminished chord. That's one of the final diatonic chords, but we don't really have time to do that this semester. So, and there's not really a lot of good examples with that one anyways, I feel so. Okay, so tentatively the final exam is Tuesday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you, right? And you guys have a very nice time, 10:30 a.m. to 12:30. And as we get closer, I will set aside 1 hour of that time for the ear training final exam, and then another hour for some of you to get your sightseeing final exam in, although I won't be able to fit everyone in that final hour. So some will have to do it outside of that time, but that's all right. It's just 10 minutes usually anyways. So hang on to this sheet, and I'll let you know if there are any changes before they come up or as they come up. The next thing I need to do is we need to talk about rhythms in your sightseeing book. And the final unit for rhythms that I use is found in chapter 14 of your sightseeing book. Can you open up to page 227? Page 227. You can see underneath the title Rhythm and Melody, the subtitle says Triplet Division of Undotted Note Values, Duplet Division of Dotted Note Values. To try to summarize what the author has on page 227 and 228. An undotted note value, such as a quarter note, can be divided into 3 parts, but it's just not the normal division of the beat, obviously. The normal division of the beat, as you know, a quarter note is into 2 even 8th notes. But we can divide the undotted note value into 3, and when we do that, we have to use a number 3 to indicate the unusual or the irregular division of the beat. I think a lot of you know that. I don't know if a lot of you know this, but whatever note value or duration you use for the normal division of the beat, that's the same note value or duration you use for the triplet division of the beat. So if regular division of the beat is 8th notes, then triplets will be 8th notes also. It's the same duration. And for instance, if I had the half note as the beat, who knows what duration would I use to divide the half note into 3 triplets? Yeah, that's right. Because the normal division would be 2 quarter notes. That means we would do this for the triplet division. Eighth notes and shorter duration, since they have beams, you don't need any kind of a bracket or anything. Each of these are free. The quarter notes and half notes and larger interval or larger durations, I typically use a bracket in the beat to show or indicate the triplet or the irregular division of the beat. Okay. Gosh, I think I'm going to stick with this before we go the other direction and go to compound meter and talk about a duplet division of the beat. I guess I have in my notes here, if we're performing a simple meter rhythm containing triplets and we tap the normal two-part division of the beat, like 1 and 2 and, where does the second note of a regular division fall in relation to the second and third notes of a triplet division? Does anybody know? Yeah, exactly in between. That's right. So what I've done over here is, you see how I've got 4 eighth notes on the bottom and I've got 6 eighth notes on the top. The least common multiple of 4 and 6, I believe, is 12. So what I've done is I've drawn 12 blue lines, evenly spaced apart. Let me get all technical mathematical here. And I can space the regular division in 2/4 meter, 1 and 2 and. I can space that evenly out among the 12 blue lines I have. But I can also space the 6 triplet divisions of the notes that I have in 2/4 meter evenly among the 12 lines also. And when you do that, do you see how the and of the regular division falls exactly in between the second and third notes of the triplet division? Exactly. Isn't that neat? I think that's neat. And so you can see that over here. The second one of this divided group falls exactly in between the second and third of the triplet divided group. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to start, this might be a little bit, it takes, at least I think it takes a little bit of practice. We need to start being able to do our normal 1 and 2 and. But what I'm going to say for triplets, and I forgot to put the 3's in these. What I want to say for triplets in simple meters, I just want to say 1 long, 2 long, 2 long, whatever. So if we get a normal square, 1 and 2, and we got a 1 long lead, 2 long lead, 1 long lead, 2 long lead, that kind of thing. And so that when you're saying 1 long lead, one of your taps, because you're tapping this, one of your taps comes right in between the long and lead. You need to check yourself to make sure that your taps, some of your taps are coming right in between. Some of your taps are coinciding right with the first of the triplet, right on the beat, right? But the other tap is right in between the long and the lead. Can you try a little bit? Let's maybe get a few measures just of a regular 1 and 2. Okay, so everybody's tapping this down step, the 1 and 2 and, in 2/4 meter. Okay, let's just do several measures of that. Okay? Get that really solid. Okay, now we're going to try to say the top, the up stem notes there. We're going to start to say 1 volley, 2 volley. Ready, go. 1 volley, 2 volley, 1 volley, 2 volley, 1 volley, 2 volley, 1 volley, 2. Yeah, okay, how does that feel? It feels maybe a little bit, I don't know, some of you maybe it feels a little bit awkward. The idea is to have these triplets even enough so that when you take away the conducting and the tapping, all you hear is 1 volley, 2 volley, 1 volley, 2. You know, they're all even. That kind of thing. So what I sometimes do, I tend to get going and I tend to start practicing the 1 volley, 2 volley, and then I just take away my hands and do nothing, but I keep saying the 1 volley, 2 volley, because they're just even. They're all the same duration. These eighth notes are just a little bit shorter though than these eighth notes are. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making some sense here. Okay, so let's let's take a look. Could you turn the page to page 228 and take a look at rhythm 14.2. How would we perform this? Well, we're going to still do the normal conducting and tapping, but you see there are a few triplets in here. And they both fall on beat 2, it looks like. Where did 14.2 from? And let's, for right one, yeah, let's just ignore the repeat signs for now. Let's just do it straight through. Okay, let's everyone on 14.2. Here we go. 1, 2. 1, 2, and 1, 2, lolly, 1, 2, and 1, 2, lolly, 1. Just like that. Reactions. How do you feel? Is this going to be doable? Question? Say that one more time.
Are you going to want us to actually say the one and two while you controls?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to do that. Well, what were you thinking of?
I'm very used to doing triplet when I'm doing it, so it's yeah.
Well, they still, because the triplets still fall on one of the beats, I still need you to say the beat.
Okay.
And so we could say maybe 2 pull-it, no, 1 pull-it instead of the trip, you know what I'm saying? Oh, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But because they still fall on beats, and I want you to at least say the beat at the beginning of the triplets, I think it's just easiest to continue what we've been doing when we're in triple and just be saying, well, we do that. Yeah. Can we try rhythm 14.3? The one right below it. This time the triplets land on beat 1. So ignore the repeats. Let's just sing or perform 14.3 straight through. Here we go. 1, and go. 1, 2, and 1 lolly, 2, and 1 lolly, 2, and 1. It happens so fast, but if you check yourself, 1 lolly, 1 lolly, does this tap come in between your vocalizing law and lead? Because that's what's supposed to happen. Okay? All right, now, we need to go the other direction quickly, and I'm burning too much last time doing this. But what happens if we're in a compound meter, and the beat is divided not into 3 equal parts, but 2 equal parts? So for instance, let's say we're in 6/8, and this is the normal beat, and we know that the normal division of the beat is into this, 1 lolly, or whatever it may be. But what happens if it's divided into 2 equal parts? Then what we need to do is we need to show that with a 2. And this is, I think the book calls this, instead of a triplet, the book just calls this a generic tuplet. Or is it just say duplet maybe? Let's see. I don't remember. I'm on the wrong page. Oh, duplet. There we go. Sorry. Maybe it's finale that calls all irregular divisions tuplets. I'm not sure. Let me be accurate with the terminology. So that's a duplet. So if you have 1, 2, lolly, da, da, it's, where does the second one of this come when you're tapping 3 times? Well, it comes right in between. So what are we going to say if we're a compound meter for a division like this? We're going to say 1 lolly, this is just going to be 2 and. We're just going to say and. Let's see, where's one that I might be able to demonstrate for you? Look at, oh no, that's not a good one. I guess we're not going to get there right away. If you turn to page 14, or no, turn to page 231. Take a look at rhythm 1420. Okay, so if I'm performing 1420, I'm going 1, 2 lolly, 1 lolly, 2 and 1 lolly, 2 and 1 lolly, 2 try rhythm 14. Now remember, you're going to say and right in between two of these counts. So it's going to be synchronized like 1 and. Okay, let me slow it down just a little. Let's try 1420 just briefly. I'll give you a measure first. 1 dolly, 2 ready, go. 1, 2 dolly, 1 dolly, 2 and 1 dolly, 2 and 1 dolly, 2 and 1, 2 dolly, 1. Okay. I can always revisit this duplet division in compound here. I can revisit that later. I think the first several classes of this unit, you're just going to focus on the triplet division in the. In fact, what did I assign here? Rhythm 14.2 through 14.5, the next class. Those are just all dealing with the triplets.
Are we doing a rhythm?
Yes, in fact, I believe I just posted that this morning as well. I don't really have the time to show you, but it's on Canvas. Just look for Rhythm Quiz 3. And I've listed all your names, and I've given you one of the rhythms from Chapter 14. And that won't be due until April 29th. So, yeah, I'll try to remind you guys as we get closer to that. But there's one last rhythm quiz for this course. Okay, let's move along before I lose any more time. Can we go back in the book to Chapter 8, Melodies? Specifically, could you go to page 135? Page 135. The first batch of melodies for this final unit of the course are melodies 868 through 871. And I wish I could say these were easier, but they're not. Okay. Ideally, I would like to, I don't know how much time I have, but I'd like to sing 3 out of 4 of these melodies. That would be ideal, because some of them are really tricky. Let's look at 868 first. What key is 868? D flat. That's right. The first line I don't have a problem with in 868. It's the second line that gives me a little bit, just a little smidge of beat. Let's start by singing a D flat major scale. Okay, so the second line, this is hand signs, right? The second line outlines a 6 chord. Then it goes to a 2 chord. And then it goes to more diatonic, like stuff like dominant tonic. Mi, 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 do, la, la, fa, re, sol, 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 mi, do, sol, mi, re, do. It's not easy. Let's try it. Let's start 868 from the beginning. Let's sight read it as best we can. Do. Hand signs. Here we go. 1, lolly, 2, ready, sing. Do, ti, la, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, re. Do, ti, la, sol, la, ti, do, very doable. If you need to check your tuning and check some pitches with the piano, not every pitch, but if you need to check some pitches with the piano, especially as you sing that second line, please do. Please do. Okay? Moving right along, I'm going to skip 869, even though that one, the last line is pretty tricky as well. I just don't have time to go through everything. Let's look at 870. Again, first line, not so bad. Second line. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention in 868, the second line is what mainly sequences to use. So you have the first measure of the second line in 868, mi, 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 do, la. And then it's the same thing, but just at a different pitch level. La, la, fa, re. And then the same thing again, just at a different pitch level. So, la, so, fa, mi, do. So use that idea of sequence. Same idea, same pattern, just at a different pitch level, if that helps you. Well, there are sequences in the second line of 870. The first measure, 870, we have beep, bum, beep, bam, and then it's a pitch lower. Beep, bum, and then it's a pitch lower. The next measure, beep, bum, beep. So you can use that idea of sequence to help you out there as well. 870 is an A flat. Well, that's all right. You guys don't have choirs. You won't burn your hands. No. Let's sing an A flat major scale.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, mi, sol, mi, do.
Okay, so the second line, this is hand signing. It's going to be something like la, re, do, mi, sol, do, ti, re, fa, la, sol, do. Not easy, but it's doable once you get that sound in your head. What syllable does 870 start on? That's right. Can we observe the repeats in this one? That way we get all good practice with both lines. So we're going to just sing it just as written. Take the first ending, go back. Take the second ending and go. All right, here we go. Starting on beat 2. 1. Mi, sol, do, mi, re, fa, mi, do, re, fa, mi, do, re, ti, do. Repeat. Mi, sol, do, mi, re, fa, mi, do, re, fa, mi, do, re, ti, do. Go on. Mi, do, fa, la, re, do, mi, sol, do, ti, re, fa, la, sol. I'm sorry. Did I sing the, yeah, I just sang the wrong syllable. See if we can pick it up on the second. There's fall. Okay, right on the second line, please. 1, 2. Fa, la, re, do, mi, sol, do, ti, re, fa, la, sol, do, do, mi, do, fa, la, re, do, mi, sol, do, ti, re, fa, la, sol, do, want to look at, turn the page and look at melody 871. I think the trickiest part about this melody is the first pitch. First of all, what key is melody 871? Yeah, B flat major. But what is the first note or syllable? That's not fa. In fact, the opening measure is fa la re re. Not your normal beginning. In any key for that matter. We should know though, once we have a B flat established, we should know at least how to find the first pitch fa. Right? We've done things like that before. One more scale, and then we'll try to find our pitch here. We'll sing B flat scale.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, mi, sol, mi, do.
Where is the fall? A lot of people are humming soul. What's the fourth? Here comes the rhyme. So this is conducting what we'd start out. Re, re, and then it's a sequence. Mi, sol, do. And then you're off and running. But you gotta hear that fa. In fact, it would be very helpful if you can hear those first three pitches to outline that chord. And we give 871 a try, and then comes so here's your fa, and it's conducting. 1, 2, 3, 4.
La, la, re, re, mi, sol, do, la, sol, fa, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, la, re, re, mi, sol, do, la, sol, fa, re, re, ti, do, mi, sol, mi, do.
Any questions? Comments or concerns? If you want to write things like chord arpeggiations, if you want to write brackets to show yourself sequences in different measures, I'm totally fine with that. I think that's a nice aid to help you think and look at the music that way. Okay, the last thing I'd like to do today is I'd like to go through one short melodic dictation. And that's going to be in your ear training books on page 183. I don't know if you still have that page, but I hope you do. Page 183. You have it? Yep. And have we done number 2? Yep. And I'd like to do number 2 on page 183. It's just a 4-measure melodic dictation. And it comes from the same unit, the same chapter that we've been dealing with last unit in this class. So really no difference. It's just a continuation of what we've been doing last unit. We can get some more practice and there's plenty more examples. So that's kind of what I'm sticking with right now. Number 2, as you can see, is in F minor. like a minor fix for the day, probably need a capping fix or something. Then, I think some people could. Just haven't had my minor today. Oh, wake up, just give me some minor first. No. All right, we need to sing, let's sing a harmonic minor scale on F. Here we go.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, re, ti, do, ti, re, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, sol, do, sol, mi, do.
Did they give you the first pitch? My first pitch is a dotted quarter. You know? Okay, we're in 3/4 meter here. And it's brief, so we'll see if we can do this in, well, 4 or 5 hearings, depending on how much time we have. All right, so here's the tempo. 1, 2, 3. Hearing number 2 for this strange melody. 1, 2, 3. Hearing number 3. 3. I think the second measure is the trickiest. Wow, okay. Well, I thought that the second measure could be a complete training, but everyone I'm looking at has been getting it, so that's really good. I thought that was just, when I first heard that, I was like, well, what in the world are losers? Let me go through the answer here. I did hear that measure 1 and measure 3 are sequences of each other. I don't know what it is today about sequences, but measure 3 is just a and this is T, so we need an accidental. Okay, so that's 3/4 of it. That's 75% of the note. Now I thought obviously measure 2 was the trickiest. Do, re, mi, do, re. What chord is being arpeggiated by the first 3 notes? Yes. That's right. It's actually, now this is just a melody, so don't worry that it's in root position. Re, mi, fa, re, do. That's right. Okay, so I would probably beam it like this, probably. And I think that should be, that should be it. Any questions? Yeah, it was just the first 3 notes that outlined the 2 chords here, and then after that it was stepwise. Okay then, let's stop here for the day. This has been a productive, very jam-packed class. So we'll break here and we'll resume this kind of stuff next week. But I will see hopefully as many of you as I can tomorrow. For theory, I know you've got residual effects maybe from vaccines, but we'll have to wait and see what that does.